Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Dad Show. Today is a very special episode as I have my good friends Nis and Eric joining me again, and we're going to be talking about Christmas and what we're grateful for, and any big plans that we have for the new year if we even do that. But before we jump in, Eric, share us what happened with your arm.
Oh man, it's so dumb. I was at the gym and I was like done working out, and I was like going to put the weights back, but I'm so strong and huge, so it was like a 400-pound weight, obviously,
Yeah.
and it just like rolled out of my hand badly, and then like it goes pop pop, and I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, you heard it pop.
Yeah. But look, all my fingers are moving, and it's like swollen and a little painful. But
No surgery?
no, this happened like 24 hours ago, right? So
Jeez
I
Louise.
I was there and I was like, oh, I guess my workout is done. And then I was like, am I going to be okay? And it started hurting more and more.
Yeah,
And
go get an X-ray. Yeah.
I did. I went to get an X-ray, and then X-ray is negative, so it looks like no broken bones or anything like that. And he's like, look, that could be consistent with like, ligaments or tendons or whatever. Like, and so right now the prescription is just chill, immobilize for a little bit until swelling goes down. If it doesn't seem like it's starting to get better, come get it checked again. But right now it's like too hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for no big broken bones, and all my fingers still work.
Well, technically, you don't know that yet because you're chilling to see if it is.
Well, my fingers still work, or for now.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But yeah. You also haven't had it long enough to come up with a cooler story because that's a total missed opportunity to tell us the real truth. So you need to have a way cooler story.
like you should see the other guy. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Something. Yeah. So this episode is really interesting because what we're going to do is not actually have a topic to talk about, and we're actually just going to go round robin and share our what we're grateful for, and just kind of talk about commemorate the holidays, and just wrap it up by saying what we're grateful for this year and what we're looking forward to next year. And so hope you guys don't mind being a little more sentimental and less cerebral this episode, and being a little more vulnerable and kind of sharing on your dad journey here with our listeners. That'd be awesome. And before I jump into the actual updates from you guys and thoughts, Nis, just to confirm, did you still need to duck out a little early? Okay, do you want to start then?
Duck out at 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Just grateful.
Yeah, what are you grateful for, man? What's been awesome this year? What are you super grateful for?
I mean, I'm grateful for a lot. Healthy. My family's healthy. I've got a daughter, so became a girl dad this year. Was already a boy dad. I would say, though, at a meta level, grateful that I have, inconveniences and not problems, right? So things that would be problems to other people, but given circumstances are just inconveniences to me. I think that's what I'm most grateful for. Had, some things with like where we're going to live, trying to buy a place and stuff like that, that like could and would be super stressful to someone else, but because of our situation, they're just annoying, and we'll figure it out. And like, even when I tell my family what's going on or something, they'll be like, oh, that's horrible. That's terrible. Where are you going to live? This, that, the other thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually fine. Like, we'll be fine. And it not even just purely in a mindset of like being Zen. I wouldn't say I'm a generally Zen person. I would say I'm a pretty high stress person, but they're the fortunate to have a lot of optionality, and to, just to have the resources to turn problems into inconveniences. So mostly grateful for that.
So is that a perspective thing, or is it just that you have a certain level of like of resources available to you that you're grateful for?
I think 25% perspective, 75% resources. Like without the resources, there'd be the stress, and without the perspective, there still wouldn't be that much stress. So I would say it's mostly just like grateful that business are doing well, family is healthy. That like we also just have the bandwidth where like anyone can deal with one problem, but you have 6 problems, and even if they're all small problems, it aggregates, right? For us, like nothing has hit us all at the same time. So like throughout the year, there's always been maybe like 1 to 2 lingering problems, but enough bandwidth to like just resolve it before it kind of escalates. So just grateful for all that.
Do you mind sharing one of these problems that your family or strangers outside in may think that are serious, and your kind of perspective is not that bad?
Yeah, I think I've on if you go listen to like the past episodes we've done, like I keep talking about a condo that we're allegedly moving into that's been under construction for 3+ years that we bought into 3+ years ago. Well,
Yeah.
when we bought into it, we were told, verbally and written confirmation that if we didn't want to move into it, we could walk away and lose our deposit, a significant amount, but like it's something you could survive walking away from.
Yeah.
So we had gone back and forth whether we were going to move into it or not. We ultimately decided we weren't going to. Keep in mind, we committed to this before we had any kids, and now we have 2 kids. So, life has changed a lot in the 3 years. So we decided we weren't going to do it. We were in the process of buying a house, actually the house we're renting right now that we were going to start buying.
Oh, nice.
And then the condo says they're done. Fun fact, they're not done, but let's just assume they are done. And we said, okay, well, we're not going to move forward. And they said, oh, no, legally you have to move forward. We're going to sue you to buy it if you don't move forward. And so it's like a 70-page contract I obviously didn't read. And I had like written confirmation from them that it works a certain way. And so I sent it to a lawyer and he's like, no, it's a super predatory contract. But it is, Texas is going to respect the writing, like the wording of the contract. Like they could sue you to buy it. So, this would normally like kind of like your reaction. It's like, oh, that's horrible, but it's okay. Like we'll buy it. We'll probably live in it. We'll make it work. We'll eventually move out of it. Like it just so happened that we don't really love the house we're renting and we don't really hate the condo we're going to buy. So like it kind of works out and we'll end up saving some money. So I would say that would be like one of like 4 things like that this year where you're like, that's really inconvenient.
Yeah, that's a really big one. I totally am on with your family side. I would say that that's a big problem.
Yeah, it would be a much bigger problem if we had already bought this house. Which from our perspective, I guess that's the perspective. There is like we're just grateful we didn't buy this house because then we'd have to sell this and go buy that. That would rise to the level of problem.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely is perspective in a lot of senses, but I definitely think that I understand now even more clearly what you mean by 25/75. Yeah, that's interesting. Eric, do you want to go next? Do you want to share some things that you're grateful for, and then we'll hop back to Nis for some new plans before you let him go. And then
what about you?
I can go first. You want me to go first?
Oh, I thought you were saying just me and Nis.
No, I'll definitely share. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if you want me. I'm happy to go. I don't really. Things I'm grateful for. Is that the prompt?
Yeah, for the year. Yeah.
Oh man, so many things. I feel very fortunate and lucky for my family. I was talking to my parents this morning. This is like a call out love fest from both of my parents. Actually, they're just like so awesome and amazing and supportive, and I don't know how common it is for other people. I have a lot of friends who through EO we've talked about our families and that kind of stuff, and my general sense is that it's uncommon for people to really love their parents and to be like, I actually truly enjoy spending time with them and I'm really grateful for them. I think it's very common for people to say, like, I love my parents, but I don't want to spend that much time with them. Or like, you're not like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation with my parents. Like, I'm very grateful for the fact that they raised me and gave me some values, but I feel like my parents are awesome. And so I feel lucky for that. And obviously I did nothing for that. It was just like, I hit the lottery, just like, it was outside of my control. I had no part in that. And so I'm totally lucky.
Are you actively raising your kids so that they will also think you're awesome? Is that like something you're like actively trying to do?
No, I want my kids to be absolute cold-blooded killers, like, whether they like me or not. No, just kidding. I do. I feel like
I personally raise my kids a lot with thinking, how are they going to think about me when they're adults? Like I think about that a lot.
Yeah, that's so interesting, right? Like there's you can imagine a world where your kids don't like, let's say, want to spend time with you, but they're like, fuck, I'm amazing because of like the hard shit my dad put me through. Like that's a possibility, right? I'm not trying to do that. I think I saw, I have this one source of truth that is the source of all truth called Instagram. And um, in it, I saw a philosophical post that said something like, success in parenting is your kids not needing you when you're gone, but wishing you were there.
Wow, that's deep.
Right. And I was like, oh, that's like set them up to not need you, but to want you.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very good business lesson too. Like a lot of people are like, you built a good business if you don't need to be there.
Yeah, if you're the owner, but not the employee. Yeah. That guy. So I guess the answer to the question is like, am I thinking about it from the perspective of like, what they'll think? Maybe a little bit, maybe not. Like, I am personally like, I have a whole thing about community and family that I think I index more highly for that than many of my peers. And as a consequence, yeah, I want to be able to look back at these times and, the next 10, 20 years with Grayson and Aya, and I want to be able to look back when we're old and be like, oh man, that's fucking awesome. And maybe that's selfish, but not to the point where like, I want them to also feel like they got value out of it. And I think that's the part where there's a balance between setting up so they don't need you, but where they want you, right? Because there's a lot of ways to set them up so they don't need you. Like one way is just fucking walk away today. It's a bad choice for everyone, but they certainly won't need you.
Yeah.
I love that you asked that question, is because I actually, I actively try to create the environment where they want to be my friends in the future. Like, not necessarily right in this moment. I'm not like 100% trying to be their friend, but I definitely have it in the back of my mind that I'm like balancing between play and parenting and instilling values and lessons while I still show some.
Like, how will they remember this lesson is important to you while you're teaching it?
That's right. And, just like noting the fact that like, I'm not as fortunate as Eric, right? Where I love my parents, but I'm not sitting there like chumming it up with my dad or like on vacation. And we go on vacation and like the times that I'm stuck with my dad, it's like, I say I'm stuck with my dad, right? It's super uncomfortable and awkward, right? Like it's like 5 minutes of conversation feels like an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, that was only 5 minutes. That was like painstakingly long, And so I definitely want to avoid that a little bit, right? I want to be in an environment with my kids where they're, actively looking to hang out and feel comfortable. And I think that has a lot more to do though with evolving as the kid evolves than trying to be their friend right off the bat. I do think that there is some level of like context that I want to share though, because for me, I have that same mindset that you brought up, Nis, but it's like, I temper it with like trying to graduate it as they get older. Cause right now it's like, dude, you need to wash your hands after you use the restroom. Like you're gonna get sick and you're gonna people.
Don't be such a tyrant.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like there are just some things that I still have to teach them because they're so young, right? They just don't know, right? Like Lily, like for example, like she asked me for money one time at a restaurant, and I'm like, she's like, Dad, can I have some money? And I'm like, she was like headed to the arcade, so I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Here's $1. And then she literally immediately turns it around and gives it to another kid. And I'm like, do you know that kid? And she's like, no, but the kid asked me for money. And so he said he wanted money. And so I asked you for money and I gave him money. And I'm like, do you not have any context on like, life? You can't just be your friend in that moment. You need to like explain to her how the world works, right? But as they get older, I think that you can start watching it and pivoting how you react to it, right? And one of the things that I've been actively trying to do that I feel like it's hard for me to do because I wasn't raised like that, but it's like when I feel like I was out of line, I go back and apologize to my kids if I feel like I was too hard, and that's really weird and uncomfortable for me. But I've been actively doing that, like going back and saying, hey, I probably could have handled myself better. I was really nervous you were going to get hurt, and it freaked me out, and so I should have been more tempered about my approach. I didn't mean to like course correct you so severely or whatever that may be, right? But like that's really weird for me and that's very uncomfortable, but I'm actively trying to do that because that's my small way of trying to instill that friendship layer,
And also that like you can be wrong. It's like parents are not infallible. I think when kids think that, you're setting up for failure.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's a really good point too. Yeah.
Apology is such a powerful tool.
It is. It really is. It definitely is an equalizer too, right? Like emotionally and
there's this whole like trend of not saying sorry that I think is like horrible advice that I don't understand at all. I feel like
what trend?
Sorry. There's this whole like sorry not sorry trend where like never apologize, and I'm like that's just a horrible that's a horrible piece of advice to give
Oh,
someone.
really? I didn't even know this
I've
trend
seen in
existed.
business, not parenting, like business.
Oh, okay.
There will be like, oh, if you do something wrong, always like, kind of like try to change the topic. I'm like, no, just tell the customer you fucked up. Like it happens. They'll respect you way
Yeah,
more for admitting it.
exactly.
It's so strange.
Yeah, is that like a
Um,
newfangled thing, huh? Like
yeah,
that
it's a
actually
Gen Z
explains
thing.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
that explains a lot with
yeah,
the workforce these days.
yeah,
If that's an
exactly,
actual trend, geez Louise. Yeah.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's a weird,
That's something
weird
that's
trend.
great, Eric. What else are you grateful for?
Um, gosh, like, uh, I mean, maybe today I'm just feeling like super grateful all around. Like I was texting with my parents this morning and last night, so that's why I was
So
like,
you're buzzing.
they're
Yeah.
top of mind. Like really easy, obvious, boring shit is like, look, I have two healthy kids. I was born this year. She's amazing. I'm so grateful for that. We had a scare with it. Like, she spent some time in the NICU. She was early. We didn't really know, and she's great. She's amazing. So
Mm.
easy. Those are those like uncontroversial, easy things to be grateful about. Melody, my wife is incredible, and if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I might, 2 months ago it was I love Melody very much. Today it's like, she's fucking awesome, right? And those are different things, right? Because like we've turned a corner in terms of there's definitely a rough spot in the first couple months of a kid, and right now like Melody is great. I'm so glad to have my favorite version of Melody back. So I'm so grateful for her, and she's such a great partner. Like she makes a lot of what I want to do in my personal life and my own ambitions possible by being a really good she's good for me. So I'm grateful for that. And those are easy, obvious ones. Like ask any person who's not even grateful for their family or parents or whatever, they'll still say that. I think one thing that I'm unexpectedly grateful for right now is some challenges in the business. I mean, about sort of the business, and we had a lot of theories about turning it around. We had management shift, and I thought some things would be easier than they were, and if they had been, it would have been great. I love financially positive outcomes, of course. Now we're a year out from me being back in the business, and it hasn't all been great or perfect smooth, but I think it was really good for me to have a period of learning and trying and banging my head on the wall. So I'm really grateful for that, because I think sometimes you just need to get sort of checked by reality, and then also it was an opportunity for growth for me. And growth sucks. Growth is painful, and growth hurts, and almost nobody chooses that pain. But now that I'm kind of back in the grind, and I'm really appreciating it and loving it, and so I'm grateful for the challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, man. That's really, really deep. Holy cow. I just want to be thoughtful of time here. Nis, share, if you don't mind sharing, I'll tell what I'm grateful for once you leave, but let's spend the last 5 minutes, and I could text you what I'm grateful for, bro. I'll send you.
I hope
I'll
it's
send you
not
the
grateful for
episode.
me leaving.
It's number 5 on the list. But yes, share with us what you have planned for New Year's. I don't know if you do resolutions or not, but what are you thinking about for 2025 for yourself and your family and dad
Yeah,
life,
yeah. So
business
we're
life?
actually going to visit my family for New Year's. My dad's side lives in Vegas, so we're going to the suburbs of Vegas for 2 weeks. It'll be my daughter's first flight. My son's been to Vegas multiple times, so they'll just have a good time. I've got an 18-year-old brother, so it's his last few months home before he goes to college, and my dad went all out. He's got this big backyard. He got a whole swing set. He's acting like he's got 2 little kids living there full time, but we come for a couple weeks a year, so they'll have a good time. It'll be really fun. I'll see some shows with my wife. I do resolutions every year. This year was unfortunately the first year I did not hit my resolution. Very personally upsetting. Another challenge that I would say was an inconvenience more than a problem. But I had a goal where to get my pickleball rating. was to get to a 4.0 this year, and at one point I got to a 3.99, and
Oh
that
my
was it, and I never
God.
broke it. So the whole year, yeah. So and now it's even worse than that. So unfortunately, first year not hitting my resolution in a long time, but usually do resolutions that are personal, not professional, or sometimes maybe they're like professionally related, but not like they're not revenue goals. Let's put it that way. So yeah, this past year was pickleball related. I don't know what they will be for next year, but I haven't thought about that yet. I usually kind of figure that out the week before the last week of the year.
Nice,
So
but they're usually
yeah.
personal. That's interesting. So they're more
Well,
like,
I mean, let's assume I'm doing enough business plan end of year business planning that those don't need to be my personal
got it. Yeah, I see what you're
resolutions.
saying.
So yeah, so like the resolutions have been around like weight loss or hobbies, parenting, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's cool. That's cool.
Pickleball,
I
and
do.
so yeah.
I do a really big deep dive into resolutions. I'm like really big on the New Year's thing, and I same as you. I have business goals, so I don't really do it on my personal goals, but I
Yeah.
do a big analysis of people, which is really effed up. People tell me it's really effed up, but I analyze like all the people throughout the year and the different things that have happened, and then I kind of rank them on how contributory they were to my emotional, professional,
Yeah.
and personal life, and how non-contributory or detracting they were, and I actually give them a score. And I
I would say
actively
anyone who's not doing that formally or informally probably deals with a lot more bullshit than they should be in their life. Like I know people where like you get like I would say once you get to like 28, 29, you're a little bit more like established in life. You start having friends who like when they tell you what's going on in their lives, like 5 minutes in, you're like, this is entirely of your own making, and I have no patience for this. Like,
yeah,
you're putting up with
exactly.
people you shouldn't be putting up with. You should have cut off a long time ago. Like, I'll
Uh,
have friends that start telling me about drama of like a third cousin. I'm like, that doesn't need to, like, that's not a cousin. You don't
yeah,
need to be in touch with that person. Like, that's
yeah.
your problem. So I would say, I don't know that I do it formally on a spreadsheet, but like, we informally, like, there's a certain, when people become too much of detractors, you kind of have to cut them off.
I love that. Yeah, sounds like you just do it organically and naturally. Yeah, I take the kind
I
of
would say
conscious.
somewhere in between that and quantitatively, like you're doing. But we definitely like actively talk about like, hey, there's some people. It'll start with like, hey, are we gonna send them a holiday card or an invite to a holiday party? And we're just like, nah, I can't deal with them anymore.
Oh, got it. So that's an easy
Yeah,
barometer. It's like constantly coming
yeah,
up. That's
yeah,
great. Yeah.
exactly,
So
exactly.
what are
I
some
do
of the
want to hear
goals?
what you're grateful for, though.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, I could share that for the
Yeah,
last couple of minutes
yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm really grateful for very similar things to what Eric said. I mean, I as much as it's been one of the most painful years for me professionally, it's been a really tough year for me. As you guys know, I've accidentally not I did it intentionally. I intentionally built a lot of businesses, and like the market, was good for some, but it was bad for small business. And I think that having a lot of it caused exactly what you said, Nis. A lot of small problems multiplied by a lot of different
Yeah,
instances
it's
creates a
paper
bigger
cuts.
problem. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was like death by a thousand knives this year, and so it's been one of the most trying and trying and hardest years professionally for me, emotionally, mentally, and all that good stuff. And I will say it's been so annoying whenever I message Eric, because he'll periodically message me, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm so effing tired and so stressed out. I'm like so stressed out and freaking out right now. I'm an emotional wreck." And his response has always been, "Pressure makes diamonds," and I'm always like, I just want to take I would want to take my phone and throw it against the wall. But in hindsight, when I look back at it, from the forest, from the trees, I am really grateful for those experiences, because I think as I head into this new year and all these things are starting to release and starting to kind of move, the money's starting to move again. I could see the early stages of things coming back. I'm really grateful for this pain, for lack of better words, because I'm looking back at it already going, I'm already having lack of remembrance. I'm already going, oh, it wasn't that bad. And I'm already starting to like think about how much more I can handle in the new year or the next year, because my plate has now probably tripled, my propensity for pain and torture, and just the
totally,
ability to
totally.
like
It's
navigate
that meme:
amok.
the hard times make strong men. Easy times make weak men. It's that cycle just on repeat with businesses.
It is, man. But it's been a tough year, and I was really like struggling with it. Just like I was praying so much, and just trying to calm myself. I've had so many panic attacks this year, and worried about getting payroll, getting people paid. I have so many. I employ like almost 80 people through all my businesses, and so it's just like
A lot of responsibility.
a lot of responsibility, right? This is their livelihood, and this is how they live and make money. And I'm just like, the stress. I think I'm like stressing myself even just saying that number out loud. You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of pressure to like think about taking care of like people's livelihood and payroll and stuff. And so it's been a really tough year for me, but I'm really grateful for the experience. And I'm grateful that it's like starting to end, because I'm actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and things are starting to move.
Don't you just want like 2019 all over again? Like, I don't even want to go back to like peak pandemic when business was so easy. I just want like a normal, I don't want to be on a roller coaster. Like, can we just like
exactly
go back? I just want 2019 V2.
2019 and a little bit of 2020 was fun, but I will say, and I will also copy Eric too. I will say I am so grateful to my wife. I don't think it's easy to be an entrepreneur's wife. I genuinely like have so much respect, not for entrepreneurs anymore. I have so much respect for their significant others that stay with them and adapt to them and can support them, because what I'm realizing is like, dude, you know what I mean? Just like the complexity of what I'm going through, and that she has to insulate and capture that and catch it and react to it, not only in a way that's like reactive, but she sometimes has to be a cheerleader. Sometimes she has to be a pit boss. Sometimes she has to be a wall. Sometimes she has to be a coach. You know what I mean? Like, just the ability and the flexibility of adapting and absorbing that level of roller coaster of emotions is just insane. And just thinking back to what kind of person I was and the erratic levels of emotions and behaviors that I've exuded is asinine. To think about someone being okay with that and staying married to me. So I'm very, very insanely grateful for her patience and
awesome.
perseverance. And
I tell my 2-year-old he has an above average dad, but a world-class mom. But
that's awesome.
If we were both world-class, I tell my wife it wouldn't be so impressive. But because you have to partner with a weaker half, that it's much more impressive. So look on the bright side.
That's a great saying, man. I like that. Yeah. That's a good one.
All right, I gotta jump, guys. But happy holidays. Love doing this podcast. Looking forward to 2025.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.
Eric, what do you plan for the new year? Do you do resolutions?
I do.
Tell me.
I actually don't. I mean, I start thinking about it around now, but I usually don't really formalize them until mid-January. For the last 3 years now, I've actually done a group planning session with, I'd say, other people I admire. I get them together and I go through like a structured, 4-6 hour session where we kind of like look at what we've accomplished over the last year. And then also sort of like take out and unpack our values and, things we care about, and then create new goals for ourselves and share them together. I like that because for me, when I do goals in a vacuum, I only have access to my own mind. But when I have other people in the room with me who are people I admire and who are ambitious and who are interesting and have different sort of inputs into their lives, then it inspires me. And so I've definitely, adopted some of their ideas and even like stolen goals from them. So yeah, I like doing it as a team exercise, and I often will do it myself first as an individual exercise so that I can kind of moderate this group experience with other people.
You moderate it. You facilitate.
I mean, usually I do it myself and then I kind of do it again, because I found that if I do the same set of exercises a second time, sometimes I have different outputs. And so I don't really know other people who are going to do this for us, but like really I put us in a group and I'm like, here's a structure, here's a printout, let's go through it together. And I have a timer on the table and I'm like, okay, let's spend 30 minutes quietly doing this, and then we can talk about it, and then we'll spend 20 minutes doing this, and reflecting. So yeah, there's like kind of a structure to the day.
Yeah, it's like group life coaching. It's
it's definitely a group activity. I don't know if it's like life coaching, but certainly like, you know what I mean? Like if for example, you have a set of goals
Yeah.
you might be curious what Nis's goals are or my goals are.
I am actually.
And if we share those goals, then you might be like, oh man, I love that you are, climbing 6 mountains, like, maybe not this year, but next year. Like, and you can get inspired by other people who are interesting or ambitious, or, like they might be like, oh, I really want to improve my relationship with my brother. It's like, whatever it is, right? Be like, oh, tell me about that. What led you there? It's like, oh, we used to be close. Whatever it is. Like, I think when you get value aligned people together and you share sort of maybe like intimate desires or ambitions, then it can trigger ideas for yourself.
Yeah. I love the idea of doing it twice. I mean, I will say that when I typically do mine, I do it over weeks because of that exact reason. Like sometimes just waking up on a different day, like sleeping better,
100%.
like it changes the way that you think about it or you remember something, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, I even these episodes, like even having you and Nis join me, it's been so amazing for me. Like, I will tell you, I've actually wanted to stop doing these shows until we started inviting you guys, and then now it's like fun for me because now I get to like hear from other smart people that are very opinionated, right? And it's just like nice reprieve.
Sweet.
And it's exciting for me. Yeah.
Let's invite some smart people. Just kidding.
I know I'm gonna get some more people in the mix, but I do like our trio. It's becoming really fun. We're starting to banter really well. Yeah. But I totally know what you mean by revisiting. I never thought about doing it with a group though, and that is interesting. And I think that's also one of the things that was really fun for me to ask you guys what you guys were grateful for and what you guys are going to plan on, because I am actually genuinely curious. I think it does influence me and help me a lot, right? Like, and I think there's nothing wrong with stealing. I think that, like Steve Jobs says, good artists copy, great artists steal, right? And so
yeah,
it's more about being, productively influenced and finding ways to support each other as you start to cycle into like an echo chamber of positivity and productivity,
Right.
And I also love that, Nis qualified that, most of his goals are much more personal, like pickleball scores. That's great. I think that that's the right mentality, because I don't think it negates the fact that you have business goals. You know what I mean? And your businesses are providing that. But I'm still at the stage where I still have professional goals, because I don't think I'm at the resource level where I'm comfortable like that yet. Where I think I need a little more financial resources to be at a state where I can be more grateful for the things that I have that are more self-actualizing, or what I don't know what the terminology I'm trying to use is, but just more self-aware,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I also don't do business goals, like I do personal goals. My businesses do business goals, and those are separate, right? Mm-hmm. And those businesses are a part of my life, but they don't live in the scope of my personal goals for goal setting. My businesses should have their own independent goals.
Yeah. For me, I have included in my personal goals, though, a certain level of monetary goals, right? So whether that's like a certain amount invested, certain amount risked, or different assets that I'm attempting to double down. I try to make them leading activities, right? So they're not like, I'm going to make $1 million, but the more like, no, I'm going to try to like deploy, into 5 different things that I'm not used to, right? Like, and then that forces me to think about, okay, well, how do I get the cash to deploy into 5 different things? You know what I mean? Like, then you have to reverse engineer that backwards. But the reality for me is I don't think I'm at the point yet where I can exclude that. And I hope to be in the next year where I can exclude, like the need for money, right? Where I can be more like, hey, I want to just focus on personal goals, which is like, I'd love to walk with my wife, in the middle of the day, like twice a week. That'd be awesome, right? I think that is going to be one of my goals, by the way, in the new year. But things like that, just to be healthier, do more travel. Like I really want to travel with my brother while our kids are still young. I want to do that more often. But I still have these kind of monetary goals because I don't feel comfortable yet.
So to be clear, when I say I don't have business goals in my personal scope, I don't have business goals. I do have like financial goals.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And I consider those separate, right? Like, rent application may say, we want like 20 new customers or whatever, right? And that doesn't live in the scope of my personal goals. My personal goals are around like, this year, for example, one of mine was around ukulele, which got one on the wall here. And it was to take 20 lessons and do 100 practice sessions.
How'd you do it?
I'm at 82 or 83 practice sessions.
Yeah.
And I was at like 75 before Halloween, and then I did 0 in November. And I've done 14 lessons.
Nice.
So
you still
I could, yeah. Though this won't help. But like it's like a concrete goal, but like that will not help my business, right?
Yeah.
It's a personal goal, right?
Yeah.
And for me on the financial side, like for example, a couple of years ago, I think this, I approached a bunch of my friends. I said, hey, do you budget? And pretty much, I think I pulled like about 20 people, and only one person truly budgeted, or 2 people truly budgeted. And like a couple people were like, I kind of blah, blah, blah. And so I had a goal to start budgeting, and I just broke it out. I was like, okay, I want to do this thing and whatever. And then, I had a subsequent financial goal to start doing a variance analysis to my family budget every month and that kind of stuff. And so I have financial goals. I do. But those aren't business goals in the scope of my personal life.
I love that. That's cool. I love that distinction. That makes me feel a lot more better about my distinctions. Not that I cared. But I definitely think that it's nice to hear that you consider those things separate. But for me, I feel like they're the same. I mean, in my sense,
they're related for sure.
Yeah. Because like, I feel like so much of what I do these days, and again, I'm really tired, so bear with me. I'm probably not speaking as objectively as I should be. It's very subjective. I feel like I got my teeth kicked in this year, right? So I'm a little tired, but I do feel like, it's all one and the same. Like, I just feel like everything that I'm doing is for something more, right? I started on this journey 4 years ago when we met. 4 years ago? Yeah, we met 4 years ago. Wow, It's been 4 years, Eric. Jeez.
I know.
Yeah, but I started on this journey 4 years ago to try to make more of myself, right? I wanted to move up a couple notches in the socioeconomic class system, and it's not easy, man. It is freaking hard, dude. It's way easier just to stay in your class lane than just like eke through it than trying to move up these socioeconomic ladders, man. It is tough. It is tough.
It is tough. And I mean, I kind of said this before, but I'm like, growth is painful.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you imagine the scope of things you're able to do, as long as you live within that bounds, it's like, yeah, life is easy. But expanding that boundary is going into the unknown, and that's painful. And it's the way by which you conquer more territory in terms of your ability.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it sucks when you're growing.
Yeah, it does. But I think it'll be good later on when you're stronger for it. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. And I'm feeling a lot more reprieve. I got a lot of closure, like a culmination of like 3 years worth of work is starting to happen today. And so
I love it.
I know, it's really nice. And once we hang up here, I'm going to tell you what it is because I'm excited to talk to you about it.
It's like the definition of like overnight success in the making. Like,
yeah,
that shit.
Exactly. Overnight success, quote unquote. That's right. Like, nobody knows the journey, that they only want the
overnight success, like 5 years in the making or whatever.
That's right, but 5 years in the making. That's a really good saying of how it feels like. But yeah, so what are your other goals? So you did ukulele this year. Do you have any others that you can share? And then I'll share mine and then we'll wrap up. You're still thinking.
Let's share offline.
Okay, let's share offline. I'll tell you one that I do have. I do want to work on my health. I want to work on my health really badly. I really sacrificed my physical health in the sake of spending more time working, right? So I've just been kind of burning the midnight oil at both ends, and then something had to give, and I didn't want to give up on my kids or time with my kids and things like that. And so I ended up just working more and saying, I'll catch up on health later. And I think that I was less effective by the 4th or 5th month. Like, I think I could have worked harder and longer, more thoughtfully if I just spent the time to work out and did less hours and just worked out and kept my body better in shape. I also think I would have been a better parent. And so I do realize the value of including the mental and physical health aspects into the regimen. And so I definitely want to include that more. And I do want to do that more with my wife because she's very into health. And I think that taking these walks with her, working out with her would be really, really good for me. And I think that's a really good thing that I can track and quantify and qualify. I know that it'll help me in the long run. And the second thing is I feel like I sacrificed a lot of like family travel fun because I just been kind of tight on cash this year and trying to compete on a lot of different playing arenas. So next year I'd love to like really travel a little bit and not that travel is the only way to experience it, because I've had a ton of fun locally with my kids, taking them to the local wall climbing gym and doing escape rooms and things like that. But I do want to like have those experiences, and I want my kids growing up experiencing different cultures, whether it's even domestically or internationally, right? Just knowing that the world is big. And I think that's important to me, and so I'd love to share those experiences with them. But those are the two things that I have, and then the third thing is I really want to start figuring out better systems for my revenue generation. So slow down the quantity, and then pick a handful that I'm going to double down on quality, and really take a couple things from good to great.
Yeah, I mean, I love that kind of goal setting, right? Because like whatever that is, if you turn it into something concrete and like it's written on your wall, like it doesn't have to be written on your wall, but like it's so easy, I think, in the day to day to get caught up in like sort of the urgent or the things that are there. But like if you know that you have these waypoints that you're like trying to hit far away, and you get, like, it reminds you of why that thing was important to you, and if you close the year out.
Do you want to say hi?
Hi. How are you?
She can't hear you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Do you want to say hi? You want me to put it on the headphones? Want to put on headphones? Here. You don't want to? Okay. I'll be right there, okay, Gracie? You can play there if you want.
I miss the girls.
Yeah, you got to come back out again, man. You got to stay with me. I got a Steam sauna from Black Friday for $100. So
$100.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I still think it's $100, but yeah, you can go. It's so you can go. You can do a sauna and then a cold plunge sauna.
Sweet.
In my pool, it's like the cheapest cold plunge and hot. So I've been waiting for the winter to come. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's hard to set those goals, but you have to break it down. And I think anything that you break down is a lot more achievable. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I take the same concepts of business building into personal goal setting, but that's where I'm at, and I haven't finalized it yet either. I take a while to do this. I take it pretty seriously, and I still also include like I do quantify people. So I do like actually like walk through like all the people that are in my life and if they actually like help me or not, like achieve.
I think to Nis's point, everybody does it. Whether you do it formally or not is the question. Because nobody's like, oh man, every time I see that dude, he punches me in the face. Maybe I'll call him again.
I know, but it's. I think it's because you guys are smart and thoughtful, and you guys are very direct. But I think the average person doesn't naturally do that. I think you naturally just are kind and you absorb it and you let things happen, and you accidentally become apathetic to who you associate yourself with, unless you're conscious about removing that.
Yeah. Well, I think my point is, I think everybody kind of subconsciously rates people in some capacity. Whether you act on it is a different question.
Yeah, I tangibly act on it. It makes my wife so uncomfortable. I literally go, no, those people are no longer in my friends group because I feel like they're detractors in my life for these specific reasons. Yeah, and then she's like, wait, what? And like, it's super uncomfortable for her. Right?
Yeah, then you go, be like, look, babe, Claire and Kevin are a 6.
Exactly. It's terrible. It's so bad, but it makes sense to me, right? And I think that overall it does help me grow, and I feel like my network has gotten better and more I'm surrounding myself with people that I want to be like. That's the short of it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's wrap up, dude. So thank you, because I know you're not going to do your goals yet. So I'd love to hear what it is offline, and then we'll talk about it. But I do appreciate you taking some time and sharing your thoughts on what you're grateful for this year and doing a different kind of episode. And I'm super, super grateful for you joining me on these episodes. It's been, like I said, way more enjoyable for me, and it excites me and motivates me to continue to do this show now. And so thank you for saving season 4, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, I love it. It's so fun for us.
I'm glad you guys like it. It cracks me up that you like it so much. Both of you guys are like, you guys want to just hear my opinions? And that's it? You just want to talk? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, that is the funniest thing that you guys are excited about.
So we talked about this with Jamie too, which is like, I think this is the same actually as me saying that I like doing goal setting with friends, right? It's when you have like-minded people who are, whether you have the same interests, like we all like knitting or like whatever, or like equal, like similar levels of ambition or whatever, and we have similar values, like you learn a lot just by kind of shooting the shit, one.
Yeah.
2, like you have a reason to make these happen. And so it becomes an easy thing for us to join in on. And, like maybe we care about recording for posterity, maybe we don't, but it's like, it gives us a good reason to reconnect. And so I really appreciate that you're doing this. And I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, for me, it's so much more fun. It's so much better with you guys on it than without. And I love that we tried it out, and it's been so successful for you guys as well as for me. So, thank you, brother. And yeah, and if I don't talk to you before then, which I'm sure I will, but happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays.
All right, thank you. Talk soon.